Gian dela Rama is CEO and co-founder at Aiah. So hello Gian, we're very happy and we're very honored to have you dito sa Startup Podcast PH.
Thank you for having me, and hello to all your listeners.
Yes, I'm actually very excited kasi Aiah is one of the pioneering AI startups dito sa Pilipinas, and hindi lang actually hindi lang basta-basta AI powered startup, kundi talagang startup that deals with AI, with automation. So of course you can speak more to this So let's start with the first question, Gian. So ano nga ba ang Aiah?
Sige, so Aiah, think of us as an AI enabler. No? So we basically use AI to help companies automate their business processes, specifically yung processes relating to sales and lead generation, marketing, and some back office processes like HR. So though ang focus namin sa Aiah right now is in lead generation and marketing, no? Our goal is to use AI to help our clients sell more. And Aiah is actually, an acronym. No, we don't publish this, but this is one of our core beliefs then. But Aiah actually stands for AI, assisting humans. So yun yung pinaka-core belief namin, that AI is an enabler. It's a transformative force. Though we are cognizant that it can replace, people in certain lines of work, that's not our goal, no? Ang joke ko nga sa team is, our goal is to help people get superpowers, no? Through AI, no? So that's what we are. And yeah, the company has been running for almost 10 years. It's actually 9 years and 11 months. We're turning 33 days. Or 35 days, sorry, 20 pa lang.
Yeah. So medyo not to say matanda, pero ang haba na ng story ni Aiah, and actually I know yung mga roots pa ni Aiah, and even now, so now medyo ang focus ng Aiah is AI assisting humans, AI helping business processes, and you're also developing an AI marketplace right now, and before you start nga with this parang business process automation through AI. Pero the first question is, back like 10 years ago, hindi pa naman ganun kalakas, kasikat ang AI. Wala pang ChatGPT noon. So hindi pa lahat ng tao ay AI enthusiast. So back then, what really got you into AI, and how did you learn about AI in the first place?
Sure. I guess yung background ko rin, no, even in college, wherein I was immersed in, a lot of linear algebra, these types of math. At that time, hindi ko alam hindi ko alam na magagamit ko siya after graduation, no? But little did I know, no, when I actually started the company, we didn't think of AI, no? To be honest, no, it wasn't really an AI. We'll start the company AI. We started the company actually as a response to a need of one of our first client. So prior to starting the company, we actually sold an idea to automate a business process to a client, to which the client said yes. So nung sinabihan ko yung co-founder ko, si Aldrich, na okay, yung mess yung client, paano tayo pipirma ng kontrata? Wala tayong entity. So that's actually how the company started. It was really, we solved the problem for a client, or we pitched a solution to a problem of client. The client said yes. We weren't prepared, I guess, company-wise, and that's how the company started. In fact, from the time we started the company, there was this probably 1 year, 1.5 year period, wherein we were a software development agency. Diba? Like many companies in the tech sphere in the Philippines, outsourcing kami ng software development. But, in the year hence, since we started, parang we realized na, paulit-ulit lang yung ginagawa natin to some degree. We were automating business processes using automated workflows. So, parang at that time, what we thought of was, sige, let's just turn this into, again, the term wasn't coined at that time, no? But I'll describe to you what we wanted to build. So we wanted to build a platform so that end users na hindi technical can build their own automated business process at hindi guguluhin yung IT teams nila, no? In fact, yung sa amin, yung selfish reason namin is dalawa lang kami nung nag-start, 'di ba? Kahit nagko-code kami dalawa, kulang yung tao. I mean, dalawa lang yung kamay namin, apat na kamay lang yung pinag-uusapan natin. And so our goal is, hey, can we build something that would automatically code or scaffold like 60% of the repetitive coding work, and then we'll just come in and do the 40%. Parang meron kaming automated developer kasi we couldn't afford a developer. Diba? That concept, which is now called low-code computing today. So that concept became our first product na it was a workflow platform that automated business processes by having non-technical users, build their own forms, model their own workflows, and run it. And that's how we were initially, we found our initial success as a company. AI came in around late 2015, about 2 years after we started, wherein one of our clients said na, uy, Gian, yung workforce namin, no, they're getting younger. The millennials are coming into the workforce. Filling out too many forms is not something that that might cause issues. No? So one of our then junior developers, no, who now actually headed our AI team, sabi niya, why don't we do NLP? No, why? Sabi they wanted something more natural. So parang what if
NLP
we
is
natural language processing?
natural language processing.
So parang why don't we use natural language processing? We build a platform that you can connect to SMS. Wala pang chat nun. SMS. So that when people can text with a quote-unquote bot at that time, di ba, maintindihan niya yung sinabi within strict parameters. Remember, this is pre-TensorFlow, di ba? Pre the current generation of machine learning. Di ba? So parang yung mga ginagawa pa namin doon, yung mga word similarity, vectors, hindi pa siya like yung pinaka like quote-unquote state of the art now. That's our first foray into AI, late 2015, early 2016. And I guess the rest is history. No, that's why yung ano pa rin namin, parang expertise as a company as far as AI and machine learning is concerned is NLP, right? Natural language processing, and of course, generative AI. Sakto. I mean, obviously, 9 years down the line, diba? Eventually your ideas then will eventually become, diba, sakto. So that's what
I'm really amazed with this story kasi ngayon kasi yung henerasyon ngayon ng mga I'm not to say naman na something pero now like some founders, some people they say, uy AI, uy uso ang AI, let's do a startup na gumagamit ng AI. Pero with your story back in 2013, it was like you want to solve a problem, and as software developers, apparently AI yung best solution. That's why doon nagsimula yung pagpasok ni AI sa inyong like expertise, sa inyong kumbaga sa model ng inyong startup on how you solve problems. I think that's a nice way, not the solution first but the problem first. Pero before we go deeper, can you just expound a bit? Ano nga bang AI? What really is artificial intelligence? You mentioned kanina may linear algebra, TensorFlow. So maybe you can share lang para intro lang basically what really is AI kumbaga.
Sige. Actually, no, if you ask me the same question 3 years ago, it was actually easier to define what AI was or AI is than now. Simply because if you look at, let's say, Wikipedia, if you look at the traditional explanation of what AI is, simply put, diba, it's quote-unquote software programs that mimic human reasoning, human thought, diba? Human thought processes, human actions. So basically, you want the computer or you want software to become more like us, no? And that's very generic, no? That's still the like highest level definition of AI, diba? But that being said, now I would say, AI encompasses other related disciplines like machine learning, diba? Teaching computers how to learn like us, diba? Through repetition, labeling, etc. Among other things, no? So there's machine learning, diba? And then that's yung what a lay person, I guess, if you look at ChatGPT, as a person, what's AI, the first thing that will probably say is more of it than not ChatGPT yan. Diba? AI, diba? So, and I'm still a little bit conflicted with that type of decision. I still stick to the classical definition. Kaya when people say AI,
True. I very much agree.
Diba? So, I'd rather say it's machine learning, and then it falls under the AI umbrella. But ngayon, na mas matanda na ako, I actually just let it slide. Yeah. I mean, it's all the same. At least, I'm happier now that a lot more people know what AI is. Nung naging mainstream siya last year, it was actually a very good development for all of us in the space. Kasi nga, kung nanay ko nga, nagchat GPT. Diba? Hirap ako i-explain yung
Yeah.
AI sa nanay ko,
Yes.
diba?
True.
AI, chat GPT, diba? Then now they understand. So parang, that's actually, it's a very overly simplified definition, but at least it's something that can bring people who are non-technical people into understanding what we are all doing. Diba?
Yes. I very much agree. Actually, yan na yan. Salamat, Gian, sa pagsabi ng mga words na yan. Kasi, first of all, punta muna natin yung definition ni AI. Actually, I agree. So, I actually also do some research on AI. So, I actually agree na yung pinaka-broader definition ni AI is basically just, kumbaga, mathematics or computers mimicking human actions. Actually, nagsimula yan optimization, di ba? We use computing to, kasi dati human optimization mag-solve manually. So we have pinakauna calculators and then computers and then reasoning. And actually now, kaya may machine learning kasi humans learn and machines or AI is actually also parang mimicking how humans learn. And ngayon, speech, natural language. So AI is actually also doing that. So yun yung broader definition pero ito yung mga naging applications niya. And also, I really agree na nag-aaway kasi minsan ibang tao na parang ito ang AI and yung mga nakikisabay lang ngayon sa bandwagon with ChatGPT are not genuine, not true AI. Pero it's true na maganda yung ganitong pangyayari kasi at least madami yung kumbaga nagkakaroon ng interest at nagiging mas broad, nagiging mas accessible siya sa lahat ng tao. But anyway, going back to Aiah's story, so automating business processes and then reading yung mga texts and nagkaroon din ng Aiah Chat. And then even now, you actually joined IdeaSpace Accelerator Program Cohort 10 with the AI Marketplace. So can you tell first this journey and paano kayo napunta sa AI Marketplace?
Sure. Well, diba, sabi ko nga, diba, we started our foray into AI essentially using SMS chatbots, diba? And ever since then, up until now, chatbots has been our parang major revenue driver. And I guess it's 2016 up until today, the last 7 years, I'd say, na remember when we started our journey with chatbots and we looked around, there were very few resources available to developers if they wanted to implement some sort of AI chatbot NLP. There were some frameworks, AWS Lex was very young at that time. Nandun na, but it was still, more or less English only, di ba? Hindi siya yung like fit for the Filipino. So, syempre, us being, well, at least I believe that we are an engineering first organization. What would an engineer do? Di ba? So, ang solution dyan, let's build something to solve our problem. So, then we started building our own models. Small models, taking inspiration from open source at that time. Eventually, these models turn into similarity matching. Tapos biglang nung lumabas yung transformers, it became more advanced and so on and so forth. 7 years later, I think, not 7 years, 5 years later or 2 years ago, we were having a discussion sa team na parang, we've developed probably around 6-7 NLP models that we use for our own chatbots. Okay, can we sell those models? Diba? Parang, kasi the application of those models goes beyond simply chatbot, diba? So, then, sige, how do we sell it? So, naka-API na yung mga, kumbaga, the models are now internally consumable via APIs, via our chatbot platform. So, can we build something around this that will make these models publicly accessible, right? And that became yung marketplace. So, syempre, nung ginawa namin yung first 6, we started inviting other developers from around the world. Hey, we built this marketplace. Kami na bahala sa billing, sa user management, security, diba? Just connect to this marketplace and then we can serve your models to greater audience, developer audience using APIs. So yun yung naging ng marketplace. So NLP, naging computer vision, may generative na. We even had some open AI, open source models there, and so on and so forth. No, so
Yeah, this
that's how evolve.
Yeah, this is also actually amazing kasi ang impression maaari ng ibang tao when they see an AI marketplace, especially now parang ay dahil uso AI ganyan AI marketplace. Pero actually it's very amazing that you shared na ito yung parang motivation you actually to build the AI marketplace, that you have your in-house kumbaga, your in-house models, and you're basically just expanding and kumbaga making it more accessible, and not just your models but actually like other maybe like freelance or individual developers. But speaking about that, so who are these developers that you're inviting? Can we know some of these models, these products na maaaring makita sa Aiah Marketplace?
Yeah. Um, so right now, no, we're actually in the middle of revamping our marketplace. No? So medyo naka-offline siya now, but we're fixing that. Hopefully, in the next few months, we'll have something different and new. But for the most part, the models that we have, obviously ours, but we also so we have one model there from a developer, if I'm not mistaken, in Belgium. Uh, and it uses NSTP, neural style transfer, to generate art based on another artwork. So that's one model. We've also integrated the open source mod. So yung naging strategy namin now is, there are a lot of open source models already that can be used. So we are now getting these open source models and giving them quote unquote a home that can be parang maging usable, no? So we started with Whisper, the speech to text model ni OpenAI, right? And then we even have some open source models from FAIR, from Facebook AI Research. Some open source Google models as well. We have GPT Neo models as well. Again, mostly open source. No? And yun yung namin, no? While we parang respect and admire and would want to invite the proprietary closed models into our platform, we want to highlight open source contributors, individual developers. We want to highlight them kasi nga, at least for me, my opinion is that while malaki yung advances na nagagawa ng the large research firms, there's actually an equally large, if not larger, set of advances in the open source world. Diba?
Actually,
And,
yeah. Yeah, I'd just like to comment about yung difference ng open source built models tsaka yung mga medyo closed source. Actually, kakapakinig ko lang nung podcast episode very recent ni Mark Zuckerberg sa X Friedman podcast. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, open source actually, kasi recently Mark Zuckerberg, they open source Llama, yung kanilang language model, kanilang large language model. Open source models actually have the potential to be more secure and more strong even kasi pag open source, lahat pwede mag-verify, lahat pwede mag-check nung lahat ng parte nung code, as opposed sa closed source. Do you call it closed source? But anyway, parang siyang parang crowdsourced yung security niya. So may kanya-kanyang benefits and disadvantages ayun eh. Pero yeah, speaking about that if ever man some developer nga will join the marketplace, will join the AI marketplace, what's the incentive for them? Meron din ba itong monetary incentive for them or something? I mean, how imagine lang kasi if I'm an AI enthusiast, lalo na ngayon ang dami ng AI enthusiast, ang saya mag-browse sa marketplace. I'll just search like generative AI, I want to generate art or something, generate music or whatever, and then posible lalabas doon So how do you build how do you aggregate this AI marketplace?
Yeah, actually that's a good question, no? Because the funny thing was that when we came up with the notion of AI marketplace in 2019, we were actually the first.
Yeah, actually,
at least in Southeast Asia. No, maybe nga in Asia with that type of idea that when we went live. So the developments in AI for I guess in the past year or so. So parang for us it's a double-edged sword. Good, mainstream AI, everybody, there's this resurgence, di ba? Dati nagkaroon ng AI, tapos naging Web3, tapos AI
Ah,
ulit. So, actually, may VR, AR pa sa gitna nun, di ba? So, but, now that AI is getting this resurgence is good. But on the other hand, maraming na rin players, right?
mm,
There's a lot more marketplaces, no? Out there. Admittedly, there are a lot more marketplaces that we admire, that have really grown. So our goal now is, that's why we're in this I would say, crossroad, no, na parang saan kami lulugar, no? Kasi you have your Hugging Face, for example, no, which is a
yeah,
huge,
actually.
diba, repository. In fact, diba, Hugging Face now is like almost, if you're thinking open source AI model, kung yung utak mo ay isang Google search engine, ang
Yeah,
unang lalabas nun usually Hugging Face,
actually,
diba?
yes, yes.
So, um, and it's hard for a company like us to compete, obviously, against that. So what we're trying to do is, okay, highlight yung mga, parang rather than simply just, so I tell a developer, rather than just simply, connecting your API to us, and then, we can sell, we can provide a payment gateway, let's say for every
Mm,
10 cents, di ba? So how much will you price? Oh, you will price at 10 cents. Pwede ba namin patungan ng 20%? So we sell it for 12, you get the 10, we get the 2, di ba? So that's a financial incentive. But I guess more than that is also providing them with some tools that will allow them to not only quickly onboard yung AI, yung models nila, but also give to, parang off-the-shelf tools na pwede gamitin ng mga users nila, di
yes.
ba? Na again, babalik ako sa start na hindi ganun ka-technical. Pwede
Mm,
nilang gamitin tong model na to na hindi mo kailangan ng,
mm,
that much, either skill set in models. Baka you're just a backend developer, you just want to consume what you call this, the API. A good example is yung tinatawag naming ADA, no? Or yung Aiah Document AI na platform. So, the ADA model, which is a OCR computer vision model, diba? Based on OpenCV, and other items, no? So, ang model lang talaga niya is, you pass an image, it spews out yung extracted text from the image. No? Yun yung pinaka-trabaho niya. Now, we could have stopped there. Diba? Oh, okay na yun. 50 centavo, 50 US cents. No, we get 5, you get 45, for example. But if you think about it, hindi ganun kasimple yun. Kasi may API ka nga, pero alam natin na kailangan mo i-annotate, let's say, di ba, yung isang image para malaman, para ma-trade. So on top of just the marketplace itself, we built an annotation tool, an annotation engine that will allow now clients to train, quote unquote,
ah,
almost fine-tune, di ba? Yun yung parang term
mm,
ngayon. Model, so that if you have, let's say, a weird receipt na ikaw lang gumagamit, or a weird invoice na
yes.
ikaw lang gumagamit, rather than retraining the model from scratch, which obviously hindi pwede dahil marketplace nga siya, di ba? You can just annotate, use it as a way to like fine tune. It's not the real fine tuning, but I'm just using fine tune as a terminology. But allows you to annotate an image so that when you feed it to the model, it knows where to look, diba?
Yeah.
So yung extra, diba? Kasi normally you'll have to build that as a developer. So if you get that for free, then mas mabilis hopefully yung development time mo kasi hindi mo na kailangang problemahin yun. So we
Yes.
want to do these little things that make life easier for developers. And yun yung tinatry namin na gawin. And we'll see, what if it's gonna work in the next
Yeah.
in the near
Actually,
future.
actually, that's awesome, kasi like si Hugging Face nga, actually, sobrang hila. I mean, if you're a researcher, if you're a software dev, if you're an AI researcher, you can definitely use that. Pero if you don't know anything about code, if you don't know anything about AI pa, I mean, it's really hard actually to even to browse and even to use yung mga models sa Hugging Face. So Hugging Face is actually an open repository of AI models. Actually, madami dun ngayon ay mga language models. But anyway, um, it's very true na ang laking value nung making it easy to use for non-technicals. Parang for example, yun nga, if kukuha ako ng model sa Hugging Face or other repository, other quote-unquote not marketplace or like a directory for this listing ng mga AI models, I still have to code. And yun nga, for example, if yung nagbabasa ng receipts, ang models kasi ngayon, uso sa mga big deep learning models ngayon, they are pre-trained, but you can put more input, like put more, kumbaga, specific images, and then if you fine-tune nga, actually, like in a DNN, no, in a deep neural network, yung onting
Ulit.
layers lang, yun lang yung magbabago, di ba? Yun lang yung
Yung dulo.
babaguhin. Para ma-adjust dun sa specific images mo,
Correct.
for example. So, if you don't know anything about code, how can you do that? Pero if you have like, first of all, with Aiah's AI marketplace, it's APIs, ano. Second, maganda kung medyo click-click na lang. May ganun ba kayong idea na parang upload the images, train, and then use? Parang ganun, kaysa kung magko-code ka pa. Tama ba na ganun ang magiging approach?
Napag-usapan namin yun. That's actually one of the things that we're looking at din. So yung ginawa namin sa annotation tool is somehow similar to that. Hindi pa siya yung parang upload and forget, no? Medyo malayo-layo pa tayo sa ganung klaseng what you call this, future. But, again, it's this, diba, as the engineers and as developers, it's these small things, eh. Sometimes nga, it's not even related to yung core like AI. Like, quality of life, make
True.
things a little bit easier. Kasi ang goal natin is, incremental improvements. If you do this 1 second faster, but if you do 1 billion transactions a month, that's still 1 billion seconds faster, di ba? So, yun yung parang philosophy namin na, okay, we'll do small things. Again, we're not creating a new application on top, no? Parang we just want to give the QOL, quality of life features, that goes a little bit above and beyond normal. No? Ito framework, download mo sa kunin mo sa GitHub, gamitin mo to. Pero it's mo, okay, login ka dito, ready na yung tools, di ba? Sundan mo lang to, and something like that. No? That's what we're looking at. Though, syempre, we're also very cognizant then of what's happening in the world. Eh. So, to be honest, September last year to now, June, dami nangyari. Lalo na sa language. Sa language is generative, di ba? So parang I'll be the first to admit that the parang most of the models that we created I won't say obsolete, no, but suddenly lost a lot of their parang quote-unquote usefulness because of the GPT models, no? And which is actually a good thing for us, but syempre parang so what does that na ngayon yung impact sa amin, di ba? So parang and then we realized na, di ba, for all the power of a GPT model, it cannot work alone, di ba?
Yeah.
Di ba? If you really want to have a true, let's say, kahit simple Q&A lang, di ba? Oo nga, pwede mo namang magtanong ka sa GPT, then may sasagot siya sa'yo. If it is more, let's say, mass market or parang consumer type knowledge, maybe more often than not you'll get an answer. But if you were to apply GPT in an organization,
yes,
then you have to think about hallucination control, di ba? Post-editing, may edit ba yung sagot bago makita ni user, fine-tuning. Yeah. So itong mga bagay na to, security, di ba? What if all of a sudden, ginamit mong prompt sa GPT yung marketing plan mo na dapat config. Tapos na-upload siya sa GPT-4, for example. So what happens, di ba? Yung mga ganun na considerations that you have to think about. And, and that's also things that, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, di ba, sa marketplace. Ito yung mga extra. Yun yung titinan namin. Pero yeah, you can have a GPT-4, you can have a Llama, you can have a Palm model, di ba? You can have, Google is the Palm model, but, you can have any other model available. But you still have to consider these things. Eh? And this is where we hope we can differentiate ourselves.
Yes, I really agree. Kasi sa mundo ng research, medyo iba yung mundo, madaming intersection, pero medyo iba yung mundo ng research sa mundo ng engineering, kumbaga. Sa mundo ng yung application, yung business application ng AI. Actually, for example, si ChatGPT, come to think of it, although ang kanyang advancement ay of course yung kanyang size, yung size ng model and yung utility, kumbaga. Pero at the end of the day, yung contribution sa QOL, quality of life, kumbaga, how easy it is to use and kumbaga how valuable is it for someone. And ang dami pang AI models na maaaring powerful nga in terms of size, in terms of utility, pero hindi naman nagagamit ng mga normal na tao. So, maaaring andyan yung business gap or yung kumbaga yung pwedeng pasukan ng mga AI startups now, yung really getting these models to provide QOL, to provide quality of life. But anyway, are you looking at a B2B model, or like are you looking at doing this for businesses or for individuals? Ano ang inyong perspective about that?
Well, we're a B2B company, no? So all of our clients right now are large corporates.
For especially for the chat, for that aspect,
Yeah. So for the marketplace, syempre, yun, though when it was online, sabi nga we took it down muna. But when it was online, even yung mga nagsa-sign up, puro large companies here. So that's what we were focusing on. We want to focus on smaller developers and we actually see it. It just so happened lang na yung nauna yung mga marami rin nagtatry from some banks. And then that's what we're focusing on, no? And right now we're also thinking, no? Saan kami lugar, no? We know that we're a B2B company, so it basically means na we will cater to corporates and maybe academe and research purposes, no? And then as we mature, no, as we have more resources, then we can open up to quote unquote more consumer, yung mga individual developers. Kasi individual developers naman can sign up, walang problema yun, pwede mo gamitin. Pero yung obviously in terms of attention or magkakaroon ba siya ng sariling account manager, iba naman yun because we have to make a business decision na dapat yung volume mo has to be a certain amount to justify, let's say, yung resources that we will. And admittedly, most of the companies na, yung malalaking company, sila rin naman yung nagkakaroon ng 1 million, 1 billion, 10 million calls per month, no? Which can justify quote unquote additional resources, no, to that we can parang assign to them.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, thank you for sharing those. And maybe nga for the marketplace, like for example, partner with academe, baka pwede rin yung mga, ang dami rin kasi AI research actually na nangyayari sa mga schools, sa mga universities. So anyway, masyado akong na-enjoy itong AI talks. Punta muna tayo sa, kasi me personally, I already know a lot about you, Gian. I mean, I've listened actually to some of your podcast episodes sa Hustle Share and others, and I actually know yung mga iyong pinanggalingan. But just for our listeners dito sa Startup Podcast, so like, can you tell us about your background, and then maybe sa buong journey ni Aiah, 10 years journey, and you as a founder, can you share like your greatest lessons learned na maaaring kapulutan ng advice ng mga nakikinig ng podcast na ito?
Sige. I guess, kasi ang dami, no, if you think about it. But if I parang distill it to 5, no? And number 1, and for me that's the most important, is take care of yourself. Number 1, no? At the early stages of a company, the founder, you, me, is the most important employee. Simply because, di ba, kung bigla kang nag-nervous breakdown, wala nang kumpanya mo. And actually, that's going to be somehow the true for even a few years after, no, kahit lumaki. As a founder, you still hold tremendous impact on the success and failure, or tremendous influence on the success and failure of the company. So number 1, take care of yourself. No, if it means taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, no, don't ever forget that. Kasi a lot of us, myself included, diba, usually feeling natin hero tayo kapag tayo yung huli. No, alam mo yan, parang, mauna na kayo, I'll pay all of your salaries, huwag niyo na muna ako bayaran, or diba, I'll do this, ako na yung sasalo dahil ako yung founder. That's good for a time, but to be honest, doing this for 10 years, don't. Find a way, di ba? Find a way to balance kasi they need you for the long run, di ba?
Yeah.
So that's number 1. Connected sa number 1, number 2 is syempre, di ba, para take care of yourselves. But in order for you to take care of yourself, you should also know what you can do and what you cannot do, di ba? Take stock. Again, founder muna. As a founder, take stock of your capabilities. You can do a lot as a founder, but don't let your pride get in the way of hindi ko to kaya, di ba? Or kakayanin ko to. So because it goes to number 3, no? If you know your capabilities, yung third is seek help at the start. Diba? You cannot do it alone. Alam ko may one-person corporation na I still believe that you cannot start a company without co-founder or co-founders. No? Find a good co-founder that you can trust, right? That can basically share the load with you, functionally, like technically or part of the business or even emotionally. Diba? Malaki yun eh, na meron kang kasama. So yun yung third, no? Fourth is, okay, so founders. Tatlo, di ba? So, first two is you as a founder. Third is, we, di ba? The founding team, the co-founder, no? Fourth is actually si customer naman. Yan. Okay. You exist to solve a problem of your customer. Right? So don't ever forget that your success is tremendously influenced by your ability to solve your customer's problem. Kasi if you don't do that, you'll just be wasting money, to be honest. So, which leads me to the last one is what you build, right? What you build is in service of number 4. Diba? Solving yung customer's problem, not your ego. Diba? As engineers, we fall in love with what we build to the point na hindi kayo mali, ako yung tama, ginawa ko to. And I learned that the hard way several times. So na parang there is this temptation to build agad and somehow shortcutting yung understanding ng problem. No? And then demo na lang. Tapos tingnan natin kung okay. You should really, you should be able to, okay, stop yourself, okay, listen first, then build. If it doesn't work, then build again, right? And what you build again might be different, might be totally different from what you built the first time. Diba? So don't get too attached to the point that you're not also moving forward. No? I guess number 6 is and I tell this to I also teach this. I tell this to my students and some of my team na parang one of the most important tasks that we are doing as startup employees or founders is learning. Diba? Learning. Not coding, no, not design, not marketing, but learning. Diba? It's about experimentation, flexibility, diba? Again, in service of the customer. If you're not flexible, if you cannot change the variables of your experiment and do it again, diba? So that you can learn, right? Then, wala, diba? Kasi that's the only way you can solve it. The customer problem. Fail fast, get their feedback, diba? Build this environment where failure is actually encouraged because failure is just like reading a textbook. Diba? Yun yung akin eh. You can learn by 2 things. Pagbasa ka, buusin mo yung Stack Overflow, or you do it and fail. Diba? So yun yung anin, no, that I can share na at least yung important sa akin.
Yeah, maraming salamat for that advice. And this, kumbaga with what you said, this is actually like easily one of the must listen episodes sa podcast. Bakit? Kasi actually, in my observation, so actually more than 100 episodes na tayo ngayon sa Startup Podcast. And napansin ko na yung mga mas matatandang founders like you, I mean, not matanda, I mean by startup, sorry, by startup journey age, kumbaga. For some reason, I mean, mas in my perspective, mas nakafocus sa problema kaysa sa solution. And mas umaamin na mas maraming problema kaysa sa solution. And actually, I'm not sure, pero for some reason, mas humble yung mga ang dami na pinagdaanan kaysa nun sa mga medyo bagong founders na this is the solution. And yun nga, medyo, parang nakikita ko yung this is just my observation pero parang I can see yung importance and yung change na maybe it's humility or maybe it's yung pag downplay ng ego to solve really the problem that you're really trying to solve. And at the end of the day it's the problem of the consumer, of the customer that you're really trying to solve and not your ego that you're trying to boost. Pero really, 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 I mean, for some reason I can notice that. And maraming salamat for sharing those pieces
No,
of
no, no.
wisdom.
Parang in defense of the younger founders, believe me, if you talk to me 15 years ago, ako yun, di ba?
um,
Gung ho solution. And I guess when you say older nga, it's just the benefit of my experience na
mm,
para, and I guess that also comes with experience nga no, na you succeed and fail so many times na you're more zen, di ba? You're more
yeah, I like
relaxed,
that word, Zen.
di ba? Things that made you crazy 15 years ago or 10 years ago or how many years ago isn't affecting you the same way now. No?
Mm.
And yun nga, nakagulat din kasi when you realize that, oh nga, no? I mean, I think it's human nature, no?
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
tend to make things harder than what it really seems. No? In our
Mm.
mind, kala mo sobrang hirap, end of the world. But
Mm.
kung daanan mo, parang isip mo, hindi yun yung inisip ko, hindi yun yung inimagine ko, di ba? Ganun tayo eh.
Mm.
Kung fight or flight, I don't know if it's an evolutionary
Maybe,
response,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's the
true.
way we prepared it. So yeah, I guess no, there is a place for gung ho. There is a place for it's me against the world type of thinking, and we need that. Diba? Start the founders.
Yeah, yes.
Kasi tayo,
Doon na magsisimula eh.
we're the hero to them eh. Diba?
Mm.
We're the one taking the first step when people don't even dare to take the first step, diba? So you need that. And at the same time, you also need the benefit of learning na parang, okay guys, we made 1 million mistakes already. Diba? We're sharing this with you para you won't make the same mistakes as us. Para, diba? The greatest pride that I have or the greatest joy that I have as a owner of a company or a CEO is that I have my people who leave who start their own businesses or
Mm.
get into high corporate positions in other companies. And I've seen that a lot. And sa akin masaya ako doon eh. Kasi I don't even care that they left eh. Because they left for something that much larger than themselves, and then saan nila natutunan yun? Sa
Yeah, you
amin.
were able to
Diba?
help them grow.
Babalik pa rin ako sa Daikano because my first job was actually teaching. So, I
Mm.
kept those principles at heart up until now, 20 plus years later, na, di ba, na parang, when the kids leave, di ba, you always want them to be better than the parents, so to speak, di ba? So, yun yung,
Yeah, actually, that's true. That's true. So, I have to say my apologies. I mean, not saying negative naman yung ganong klaseng
yeah,
ego.
I understand. Don't
Yeah,
naman
yeah. But yeah, I mean, taking the first step, I mean, it really matters. So, parang yun nga talaga yung pinagkaiba, taking the first step at the start and then taking many steps na. You've taken many steps na once you've, kumbaga, um, taken your journey for a longer time. And by the way, Gian, what do you teach?
So right now, I'm an advisor sa Information Technology Entrepreneurship Program ng Ateneo. So I don't know if
Okay.
you've spoken to Joven
Yeah, 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 yeah.
with Joven. So I coach yung mga students as they start and run their startup.
So ikaw pala ang dahilan kung bakit ang galing actually ng mga BSIT students. Ikaw pala ang dahilan kung bakit ang galing nila. And actually parang
I would say lahat kami, but
yeah, but I mean, I really admire the BSIT program kasi napaka startup oriented and napaka grounded. Sila yung may build an MVP, focus on the problem, build an MVP, start with those things na hindi parang naturally natuturo sa ibang entrepreneurship, 'di ba? I mean, very ganung So anyway, let's wrap up this conversation. Medyo mahaba na. But I really enjoyed it. So maraming salamat. And I actually even learned some very important lessons in this conversation. Ano lang ang vision talaga ni Aiah? Maybe parang share lang some future perspectives about like maybe how AI really can help the Philippines, the nation, kumbaga, the society, the economy. So parang looking forward lang with AI.
Yeah. So, well, it was always my dream to make AI or make technology accessible. No? So when I say making technology accessible, diba, the type of technology might have changed over the past 10 years, but our way of thinking never changed. Na parang we want to make our tools as accessible to non-technical users as we can. Diba? Simply because by having a lot more people use this technology, they can build things that we cannot imagine. And some of those things might be so groundbreaking that they can shift economies, diba? They can bring millions of people, let's say, out of poverty, diba? They can make lives of all of us much, much better. Yun dream ko, no? And that's what Aiah is all about, di ba? AI assisting humans, di ba? So, yun pa rin. Maybe ask me again 10 years from now, maybe the AI might be different then. We're now talking about more cognitive engines or anything. But, I'm pretty sure that the dream will remain the same. Diba? By giving people the tools to make things possible for them, then, let their creator side flourish, and then step back to some degree and see what can be built and guide them. Syempre, you don't want. Syempre, I also don't want naman our tools to be used for bad things. So syempre, that's another thing. But yun yung yun yung parang dream ko sa AI na make AI accessible.
Yeah. AI assisting humans, making AI accessible for anyone. And yun nga, nag-evolve nga si AI from optimization, reasoning, decision making, learning, natural language, and baka in the future, innovation, invention, and really parang sparking that change or creating something for people. Yeah, so let's end with that. Maraming salamat, Gian. If our listeners pala want to know more about Aiah, maybe they want to try the marketplace, maybe they want to partner, maybe they want to join the team or whatever. So how can they get more information about you and Aiah?
Sure. You can go to our website, aiah.ai, or send us a message in Facebook or LinkedIn. Just look for or search for the term Aiah Automation. One word, Aiah Automation. So,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Aiah, especially now na ito na mas nalaman ko ang inyong ginagawa. And I'm a big fan of you, Gian, actually sa lahat ng iyong na-share and actually sa iyong journey. So maraming salamat. I'm really honored to have you dito sa podcast. Thank you.
thank you. And, thank you, Red, for having me, and congrats with your 100 plus episodes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Salamat.
Thank you very much to our 32 patrons. This episode is super powered by TechShake, Asia's most active Philippine-based startup ecosystem builder creating bridges with investors, corporations, and governments. 1 CFO, tech-enabled CFO, bookkeeping, and tax services for startups and SMEs. Take 5 Outdoors, the best guided outdoor adventure tour in the Philippines. They specialize in hiking and mountaineering trips. Benjoy's Food Products, the home of premium bacon ends, tapa, and tocino. D-Buds, Web3 microblogging app promoting freedom of speech and content ownership. Pinoy IP Works, capture your startup's value proposition through patent and trademark protection. Packetworks, the leading enabler and only Internet of Things social enterprise in the Philippines. Looking for buy and sell online with Sigurado sellers. And NutriCoach, the all-in-one productivity tool for dietitians and nutritionists. This episode is powered by Pareto Consulting, AltSwitch, ePlayment, Tuala, and Hive Energy PH. AskLex PH Academy is our official e-learning partner. Get certifications on Lean Six Sigma, project management, data science, and many more. Support the podcast through the links in the description.